Ridgefield, the Clark County Sheriff's Office says one of its deputies stabbed and killed a driver who was suspected of driving under the influence.
It happened after they took the driver to a Washington State Patrol facility to breathalyze them. Thomas Schultz joins us live in Ridgefield. Thomas, what else do we know here?
Well, guys, we've been on scene for a couple of hours now, and let's show you a look at what it's looking like right now. Still about a dozen officers in those black cars, or deputies and others involved, agencies involved in this, still investigating what exactly happened here. Though here's what we do know. This all started down in Vancouver when the Clark County Sheriff's Office says deputies responded to a vehicle that crashed into two parked cars near Northeast 14th Court. Once deputies arrived, they suspected that driver was impaired. They arrested the suspect and brought them here to a weigh station along I-5 north along exit 15 in Ridgefield around 11:30 last night. That's when things took a turn. While in the breath test room, the sheriff's office says a deputy reported over the radio he was in a fight with the subject. During the altercation, the deputy reported the suspect tried to take his gun. That's when the deputy allegedly stabbed the suspect several times. The sheriff's office says deputies tried to provide first aid, but it didn't work. That suspect died around 12:30 early this morning. That deputy was not hurt, the sheriff's office says. That deputy is also now on administrative leave. That's standard protocol in incidents like this one. We just spoke to an investigator a little while ago who just arrived on scene. They say they're looking into what's going on right now. They're actually on scene investigating. They're going to give us more information once they have it.
Shockwaves through the local law enforcement community as one of their own is now facing charges, accused of inappropriately talking to a teenage girl. The suspect in the case, 35-year-old Mark Lugo, a detective with the Bakersfield Police Department. The Kern County Sheriff's Office saying it started off as a cyber tip from the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, who identified an Instagram account that had, quote, engaged in explicit communications with a 15-year-old girl from South Carolina. Detectives would later link that Instagram account to Lugo. Records obtained by the sheriff's office show Lugo had inappropriately talked with the teenage girl, reportedly encouraging the juvenile victim to send explicit material. The investigation leading to a search warrant at Lugo's home, which was served by detectives with KCSO's Special Victims Unit. The U.S. Secret Service and Homeland Security also helping in the case. Lugo, a 13-year veteran with Bakersfield Police, has since been placed on administrative leave. No longer listed in custody on the Sheriff's Office website, but 3 charges remain: contacting a minor with intent to commit a sexual offense, possession of obscene material depicting a minor, and the use or possession of obscene sexual material involving a minor. Bakersfield Police Chief Greg Terry releasing this video statement on social media.
The allegations against Detective Lugo are deeply disturbing.
Good morning and welcome to the Bad Apple Report. It's 7:30 a.m. bright and early right here at home on the range. Thank you so much for being here today, folks. I really appreciate it. We're going to start it out with a very wild story about this bad apple right here from Utica. And it says Oneida County Sheriff's Deputy Aaron M. Al-Shaman. Ooh, I wonder what the M stands for. It's probably Mohammed. It might be Marty. Who knows? Marty is accused of setting fire to the Utica home of the mother of his infant child, with the mother, the child, and the woman's parents all inside, according to Utica police. See, I told you it was a wild story. No one, and you know what? No Marty would ever do such a thing. I'm going to go with Aaron Mohammed Al-Shaman. Okay. So, no one was injured. Mohammed Al-Shaman, age 29, of the Lee Center, was on duty at the time and is believed to have driven a marked squad car to the scene, parking one street away from the home. Al-Shaman has since been suspended without pay pending termination. Whoa. It says here, I am shocked and profoundly disheartened by the serious criminal charges levied against Aaron M. Al-Shaman in this indictment, says Oneida County Sheriff Robert M. Maciol. Such heinous conduct while on duty is in complete violation of the values we uphold and is a blatant betrayal of his oath of office. You don't say. He did say. Al-Shaman was indicted by the grand jury Thursday and pleaded not guilty Thursday afternoon before Oneida County Judge Robert Bauer. He is charged with 4 counts of attempted second-degree murder and 1 count of second-degree arson, police said. He was sent to the Oneida County Jail in lieu of $250,000 cash bail or $500,000 bond. He's scheduled to reappear in court on June the 10th. He's going to sit his butt in jail until then and think about what he did. Actually, he's probably going to be thinking about steak and potatoes. Not pork, though. No pork for that guy. Anyways, police said at about 4:30 a.m., April 9th, the Utica Fire Department was dispatched on the city's west side for a reported house fire. Authorities said the fire had been started at the back of the residence and the home was filled with smoke. The resident and her family, including her infant child and two parents, were overcome with smoke and they fled the home. The flames were knocked down by the firefighters after causing damage to the rest of the home. Okay, the fire was determined later to be arson. While police said the victim didn't know who set the fire, Al-Shaman was soon developed as a person of interest. Her child's father, quote, an active duty Oneida County sheriff named Aaron Al-Shaman, had recently been served custody papers regarding a child in common that they had. Okay, that's what a Utica spokesperson, Lieutenant Michael Curley, had to say. And the police explained that the child's mother was a civilian employee of the sheriff's office and had a brief, intimate encounter with Al-Shaman. Oh, my goodness. Which led to a pregnancy and child. Police said the two were never in a relationship. Police said the woman was seeking full custody, and security camera footage from neighboring homes that was secured by police. And guess what? It was dude. Okay. It says here, the automatic vehicle location system, the sheriff's vehicle, placed Al-Shaman at the scene, parked one street over, and the authorities said the security camera footage showed the marked patrol car arriving and leaving in the area where he was believed to be parked. And Al-Shaman's career we don't really care about. He's just a big knucklehead and he's a goofball. And then they say there's no place in law enforcement for idiots like that. Well, there obviously is, because we have the Bad Apple Report going every day, sometimes twice a day. Let's move on with the show.
It's the clock. The Clayton County Sheriff says he has fired a correctional officer who's accused of beating and tasing an inmate. The sheriff says the officer threw the first punch. Now, this is Darius Roberts. The sheriff says he got into an argument with an inmate at the Clayton County Jail on Wednesday. Then the sheriff says Roberts punched that inmate several times, slammed him to the ground, and then tased him. The sheriff says other officers had to physically remove him. Roberts is now charged with battery, assault, and violation of oath. The sheriff's office hired him in August of 2024.
Nearly every industry is struggling with staffing, and the New York State prison system is no different. Lawmakers have approved a move that some Republicans are calling risky, lowering the age to hire correction officers from 21 to 18 years old. News Channel 13's Tessa Bentulin is live right now outside the state capitol building in Albany. Tessa, good evening to you.
Hi, good evening, Sabrina. And this move comes not too long after we saw prison guards walk off the job protesting for better working conditions. That was just in March. And 2,000 of those CEOs were fired by Governor Kathy Hochul for refusing to go back to work after a deal was reached with their union. The union is NYSCOPA, the New York State Correctional Officers and Police Benevolent Association. NYSCOPA is in favor of the decision to lower the hiring age. The communications director says there will be restrictions on 18-year-olds. No access to firearms, no interactions with inmates will be limited, and they can't go out on inmate transports. NYSCOPA says the prison system is not sustainable without adding staff. But Republican Senator Dan Steck says prisons do need more staff, but this is not the way to do it.
You're talking about an 18-year-old who certainly might not be as mature as a 21-year-old. Conversely, you might have a 21-year-old who comes on that might not be as mature as an 18-year-old. But you'll look at every individual to make sure they're going to be able to handle that type of environment.
I mean, how are you going to recruit people after witnessing the strike and all the horror stories that we've been hearing that have been going on there? It's a difficult sell.
NYSCOPA says the state is also waiving the residency requirement, meaning they can look at a pool of candidates from surrounding states.
Aw, this guy makes me want to start a sad apple show. He's a sad bad apple. And this sad bad apple's from Rio Rancho, New Mexico. Well, actually, he's a former Rio Rancho Police Department police officer who is currently with the Santa Ana Police Department. But he's been arrested for aggravated DWI on Thursday night. Officials said that RRPD responded around 11 p.m. to the area of Leon Grand Court and Villa Verde Avenue, where officers saw a truck leaving when they arrived in the area to the scene, and then they conducted a traffic stop. The driver was identified as Christopher Martin, spelled with a K and an F. Okay. Spelled like a kartoffel. Anyways, according to a criminal complaint, Martin told officers he was planning on driving to his ex-wife's house. Okay, it doesn't say ex-wife's house. There's a V, so perhaps they lived together, or maybe he was a polygamist and he left all of them at once. That's possible. Anyways, his ex-wife's house to pick up his children. I wonder if he was in a van or a school bus. Anyways, but he admitted to drinking three fireball shots before driving. Oh my goodness. Okay, this guy is definitely not a husband to numerous wives and drinking fireball. Maybe he's somebody's wife. Just kidding. Okay, you guys. Anyways, officers performed field sobriety tests, and Martin, was arrested and charged with aggravated DWI. Martin retired from the RRPD and is currently employed as a police officer by SAPD, according to officials. Well, they're all going to make fun of him for being a big wuss and drinking fireball. Okay, let's move on with the show.
This is breaking news.
We begin this afternoon with breaking news. A former Decatur police officer's murder trial has been delayed again. It's being pushed back 3 months after Marquette just filed an appeal seeking immunity. His trial now set for September 15th. It was supposed to start in June. In his latest appeal, Marquette claimed he should be immune from prosecution. In that appeal, he requested the judge push the trial until the Court of Criminal Appeals reviews the case. This was granted by the judge, and Marquette's immunity claims were rejected earlier this year. He's accused of shooting and killing homeowner Steve Perkins in 2023. Now, we just obtained Marquette's filing with the State Court of Criminal Appeals seeking to have that order overturned.
When the Palisades fire raged and burned, firefighters risked everything to save people and homes. In the days and weeks after the fires, political fallout exploded. LA Mayor Karen Bass would ultimately remove LAFD's chief, Kristen Crowley, a controversial move. LAFD's union chief, Freddie Escobar, would go public blasting the mayor and sticking up for then Chief Crowley.
In our opinion, Chief Crowley is being made a scapegoat.
Now we've learned the National Firefighters Union is accusing Escobar and 2 other local union officials of misusing $800,000 in union funds. For Escobar's part, he's accused of using a union credit card to rack up huge, unauthorized expenses. The National said in a statement, there is no way to determine whether $265,862 in dues money spent by President Escobar without documentation was for legitimate union expenditures. The National Union says its forensic audit also shows former Union Secretary Adam Walker transferred more than $80,000 into his personal bank accounts, then allegedly used the money to pay off personal debts, used some cash for gambling at a casino, and even paid down his mortgage and made loan payments on an RV. Former Union Treasurer Domingo Albaron is accused of spending more than $300,000 with a union credit card with no receipts. The National Union's investigation began back in October of 2024 when a union treasurer was alerted over concerns over improper record keeping. A forensic audit ensued. The bombshell accusations come as LA Mayor Karen Bass and the City Council are set to make massive cuts to the city's budget to close an almost $1 billion deficit. While LAFD's budget appears safe, ironically, Escobar has been one of the loudest critics of potential cuts to the department's budget, only now to be facing accusations of fraud.
The truth is, our fire department has been underfunded and under-resourced for years, for decades, including Mayor Bass's time in office.
We reached out to Escobar for comment and have not heard back. And we also reached out to the local union leaders here in LA and are waiting for a response. Susie?
Tom, thank you so much.
A startling crash that is raising more questions about how long it takes Dallas police to respond to urgent calls. You see two young boys here standing on a sidewalk, suddenly hit by a car. Now we have learned it took Dallas police more than 4 hours to respond to that crash and begin investigating what caused it. Scott Friedman continues our NBC5 investigation. Help on hold. Scott?
Brian, that crash left one of the boys injured, and it left the boy's father with serious concerns about why it took police so long to show up. It's an incident that also highlights how delayed Dallas police responses are also tying up firefighters, forcing them to wait hours for officers to arrive.
Two 10-year-old boys out for a Sunday afternoon bike ride when suddenly an SUV jumps a curb, sideswiping them. Then you hear the driver crashing into a retaining wall down the block. From another neighbor's doorbell camera, you can see the boys knocked to the ground. The crash near Dallas's M Street's neighborhood, leaving them stunned, and one of the boys hurt.
Luckily, he's a pretty resilient kid. He's got a concussion. He's got a probable fracture in his wrist.
Jeff Hochschild rushed to the scene to check on his injured son and found Dallas firefighters got there fast.
It was 2 ambulances, 2 fire trucks.
He says paramedics began treating his son and took the driver to a hospital.
And then we proceeded to wait for Dallas police to show up on scene.
Waiting not minutes, but hours.
Motor pedestrian accident. Rescue 55.
It's 3:54 p.m. when 911 operators received the first call. Police confirm they coded it as an urgent priority 2 response. The department's goal is to respond to those calls in 12 minutes or less. But DPD tells us the first officer did not arrive on the scene until 8:26 p.m., 4.5 hours after police were first notified of the crash.
You expect better than that?
Yeah, I mean, if it was me, I would be okay. Like, I wouldn't take it personally and be like, hey guys, if you want to swing by later, come talk to me, that's okay. But it's like, okay, a kid was struck by a driver. At what point are we gonna prioritize this?
In a statement, Dallas police tell us at the time of this incident, all available officers were assigned to other calls, with multiple calls still holding ahead of this incident. We reviewed dispatch audio recordings and could hear how officers in the city's Central Patrol Division, where the accident occurred, were struggling to keep up on that afternoon of Sunday, April 27th. Dispatchers said multiple priority 2 calls were holding and an even more serious priority 1.
We just not have any available units right now, and I will advise you we have a holding priority 1 also.
As hours passed by, Jeff worried police were losing valuable time to determine why the driver ran off the road, striking the boys.
We thought maybe medical issue, potentially intoxication, have no clue.
He wondered if the driver was intoxicated, would police be able to gather evidence before it was too late? And he also began to wonder about how the slow response impacted Dallas firefighters. As you can see in this video neighbors took, Dallas Fire Rescue remained on the scene waiting for more than 4 hours for police to show up.
It's obviously not the best utilization of resources. It's disappointing because obviously there are things that they can be doing in the community to ensure everybody else's safety.
Dallas Fire Rescue confirms under the department's policy, firefighters typically must stay on the scene until police get there.
You know, we've gotten kind of awkward, like the fire department covering for the police department, telling us how short-staffed they were.
Jeff hopes police were able to gather some evidence or information at the hospital to determine why the driver suddenly veered off the road. Police declined to answer our questions about what caused the crash, saying it's still under investigation. Jeff says officers who responded did their best, but he hopes the department will work to address short staffing and how it manages incoming calls, so the next child injured is not waiting hours.
My son and his friend got really lucky. They were blessed, but at the same time, I don't think this city can run solely on luck and blessings and stay safe, right?
In a statement, Dallas police tell us we're constantly evaluating how we respond to and address any concerns brought to our attention, and we're actively working to improve our service levels. The department is trying to hire 300 officers this year and also says it's examining how supervisors are managing deployment of officers on the street. So far this year, Brian, priority 2 calls citywide, 95 minutes on average for an officer to arrive. That's more than an hour and 20 minutes beyond the 12-minute goal. The City Council's Public Safety Committee meets next week, and it may be a first opportunity for council members to question Daniel Police Chief Daniel Como about this. He's only been on the job a couple of weeks, but he's pledged to look into what's delaying responses.
That's going to do it for the show, you guys. That's all the bad apples we have for this morning. Perhaps we'll have an After Dark episode, and if we do, I'll try to drop it like right at 7 p.m. I don't think we have a bad apple report for tonight, but, you know, something may drop in our lap, and then we have too much stuff for tomorrow's show, and then I have to do a night show. That's how that works. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much for being here. I really, really, really appreciate you. Have a great day.